then move on with this news that came out of nowhere. And it literally was one day they have a meet, from what I can gather, they have a meeting and it said they tell the students and the staff that you have, first I heard it was until August. And then it's the end of June, and now it's tomorrow. You on some try and be morally right or whatever. And I'm not saying that morally right stuff that King was talking about. Right. That's different. I'm not talking about that, because ain't no way you putting women and the kids in front of water hoses and police dogs, and they don't give a damn. Excuse me. I'm a teacher, and if I'm not teaching your children, people have a right to come and say, "Hey, look, man, you're not doing what I need you to do for my child." But you have to be involved too, right? So you can't tell me as a parent, unless you're involved, that you're not doing my child right. I need y'all to correlate this to what's going on around here as well. You can't tell me I'm not doing your child right if you're not involved in the child's life on all levels. The issue that it is now is blatant in everybody's face. Yeah. It's blatant in everybody's face. So we're not sitting there talking about what can we do for residents. We don't care nothing about the residents.
Never about the residents.
It's never about the residents. And the issue that people are having that I see, and they still won't let me come down to the council. When I'm out of school, I'm just going to go. We out of school in a couple weeks. I'm just going to come to one. I don't care.
And we live.
All right. Good morning, family. How we doing? Good. We're glad y'all could join us on this Sunday morning, your morning cup of bro. All right. We appreciate Uncle Mick coming in on this little chilly Sunday morning. And, you know, allowing us to hang out with them a little bit. We're on our winter break from school. So, you know, y'all might see me more, a little bit more over the next couple weeks. So we just gonna jump in.
Yeah, let's get to it.
Let's just get to it. The upcoming period of time that we have over the next couple of weeks, really, is what they call the holiday season. And it's really Holy Day, HOLYDAY, Holy Day season. But I'm going to give you some historical background on that before we talk about particulars. First and foremost, let me throw this PSA at everybody. If you pay attention to the calendar in this country, there is every month there's a holiday. You got President's Day in February. You got January 1st, New Year. Okay, I'm gonna try and see if I can name them. I don't know if I can.
Starting in January, what you got?
Okay, so January 1st, we got New Year, right? Which in some places they don't. Okay, let me stop before I go there. January 1st, February, you got President's Day. March, what do we have in March?
You skip February.
February. Oh, Valentine's Day, right? So we have Valentine's Day, President's Day. That's two. In February. March, typically, what do we have in March?
Sometime Easter can fall in there.
There we go. Okay, so Easter's in March or April, depending upon the moon cycle, the lunar cycle. Okay, let's be clear. This is not based upon the crucifixion or none of that other stuff. It's based upon the lunar cycle. May, you have Mother's Day, right? And at the end of the month, we have Memorial Day, right? And Memorial Day was really started by African people here in this country who commemorated the persons who died in the Civil War. That's where Memorial Day comes from. Good morning, family. How y'all doing? We glad you're here. In June, we got Father's Day, which is the least celebrated of all of the holidays. July, you got Fourth of July. Sorry. August, we got nothing really. In September, you got Labor Day. October, you got Halloween. November, you got Thanksgiving. December, you got Christmas. And all of these are plays, and hopefully Kwanzaa, if people, look at that as well. All of these, and the difference between Christmas and Kwanzaa, though, is one is about gift giving and one is about cultural expression.
Mm-hmm.
That don't mean certain gifts aren't given during Kwanzaa, but the gifts are typically supposed to be educational and not just, I'm just going to give you stuff just to give you stuff because you want stuff.
Mm.
And it's a cultural remembrance celebration. So every month, right? And Hallmark makes billions of dollars off of these holidays, holy days, whatever you want to call it. And we typically come out and spend all of that money as well, putting that money right back. Oh, we're going to give our kids this and we're going to give our kids that. Not even clearly understanding where the idea comes from. If we follow the so-called Christian ideology, the three magi, three wise men, came to bring the Christ child gifts. And they were things of frankincense and myrrh. They were things like oils, things like that, not PlayStations and all this other crazy shit that we buy our kids. But they were things that give gifts to the virgin birth of the new son. I want y'all to let that sink in. The virgin birth of the new son. Ancient cultures, real ancient culture. I'm not talking about Greeks and Romans. Greeks and Romans or Greeks and Romes or whatever you want to call it. Those are not ancient cultures. The oldest calendar in the world was created by African people, or Al-Kibalanian people along the Nile. The Nile is over 4,000 miles long. Along the Nile, from the beginning in the mountains around what we call now Uganda, Rwanda, and Burundi, that's where the Nile started. You'll have a lot of people talk about that we come from the star systems because they look at the Colossus near what they call the Colossus, the big ass statues in Kemet, and they're looking up. No, they're not looking up in the sky. Even if you look at the ones on Easter Island, right? Those colossi are looking up, but they're not looking up in the heavens. They're looking up from the beginnings of where they come from. And the beginnings of where they come from start at the beginning of the Nile, what they call it now, or is originally called the Hapi River, Hapi, the Hapi River. This is not, and then you get these other so-called European people who, well, they show that we, of course, we knew about star systems. The Dogon, which is a system from Mali, and a group of ethnic, and the ethnic group from Mali have been able to watch the stars for 8,000 years. And they were clear without telescopes, without optics of any source, of being able to understand and see how the Sirius A, B, and C stars, which is what is a European name. I don't know the African name of it, but and those very same stars are the very same stars that sit over the top of the Great Mirror, the pyramids. African people were able to mathematically calculate true north and use the buildings. If you look at how those buildings are made, those monuments are made, they were able to use those, and they're only off this big one, the main pyramid, the main Mir, is off by 1 degree only because of an earthquake that happened 15,000 years ago. It's off 1 degree by true north. Not the North Pole true north, but true north where it comes from. So there's this triangular alignment, which they give credit to Pythagoras, which is a lie because he never existed. And if he did, it was definitely 2,500 years after Ahmose, Ahmose, described, created this mathematical idea. They give it to Pythagoras because it was stolen. We're not clear whether Pythagoras existed or not. Ahmose we're clear of because they have his remains in the museum. Pythagoras, we don't know where he's at because ain't nobody ever seen him, and we don't know where his remains are. No. But they created this calendar that's 25,870 years old. Let me make sure my math is right. Let me see. 2155 times 12. So they were also able to calculate the constellations. So we're going to get into your virgin birth in a minute. So that's 0. Let me make sure my math is right. 1, 3, 4. And then 5, 5, 1, 2. Right? 0, 6, 8, 5, 2. 25,860 years. If you look at the first Stargate, right? Go back and look at it. And I'm kind of dating myself because people don't really look at science fiction like that. The Stargate had these 12 symbols on it. And each one of those symbols represent a zodiac. The zodiac that we look at now is based upon a lunar and a solar idea instead of an ancient stellar idea. A stellar idea, each one of those zodiacs are in power for 2,155 years, which is calculated by the ancient Kemites and those people before them. The ancient Kemites just actually put it on the calendar. This 360-day calendar came from the ancient Kemites too. Okay, so you have 3 different calendars. You have a solar calendar, which is the one that 30 days. You have a lunar calendar, which is 28 days. But the oldest calendar is the stellar calendar.
How does that one work?
That one works because they watch constellations, and families of us who studied astronomy were able to watch the over periods of time, which is where they calculated the 2,155 years. So when we talk about age of Aquarius, that don't last 90 days or 100 days or 360 days. That lasts 2,155 years. So, there's an age of Aquarius means the age of new knowledge, right? So we going out into some deep water and you got to follow. I already know. I know.
I'm a student right now.
Okay. So the oldest calendar is the stellar calendar. The idea of the virgin birth comes because on December 21st is the winter solstice. So 12/21. So that's tomorrow. The 22nd, 23rd, 24th, the sun is going to rise in the same spot every single day for the next 3 days.
Fact.
on December 25th, you get a new sun because it moves over 3 degrees. 3 degrees, 3. Look at my fingers. 1, 2, 3. Moves over 3 degrees and moves in a new position in the horizon. But this whole idea, the whole concept of the virgin birth doesn't come from Mary. It comes because the constellation Virgo is in power at the time when they recognize this new sun being born through the constellation Virgo, the Virgin. And so, of course, what do? They write stories about it. And they pass these stories down because all Alkebalanian traditions are oral, except for the ones carved in stone. This is in the pyramid text. For those who want to go to a deeper dive, there's a book by one of my teachers, and I call him one of my teachers because his explanation of things showed me a lot. His name was Gerald Massey. He was his family was wealthy, and his family because of the wealth, they allowed him to travel and explore the world. He was really an atheist until, of course, they had discussions about these ancient sable-skinned, woolly-haired people who created civilization. And of course, being an atheist, I'm not believing in that. So what does he do? He travels to ancient Kemet, not Egypt, Kemet. Kemet is his original name. Egypt is a name given by the Greeks after the downfall and the death of the civilization, when they came over and took over the last 3 or 4 dynasties, the 22nd, 23rd, 24th, and 25th. So last 4. He travels over there and he sees the ruins and what the Hyksos, the shepherd kings, what they call them, shepherd kings, had done to the civilization. He goes over there and he sees what Napoleon has done to the Sphinx and all these other colossi where they blown off the faces with the noses and tried to destroy the monuments there. And he starts to study these monuments. He doesn't study the language because the language was hard. It's hard to study.
Wasn't that Napoleon?
Yeah, that's Napoleon. Right. But Napoleon was the one who did the destroying. He was also the one that got his ass beat by the Haitians. So same one.
Right. No, I was just making sure when you said because they shot the nose off the
Sphinx. Right. Yes, sir.
Gotcha.
The Sphinx and many other classes.
Yeah, okay, I'm just following.
You on there. Yeah. But what he studied was the monuments, and he studied how the tradition and the religion of the ancient Kemites was. And so in studying that, he no longer became an atheist. And he wrote several books. One of the books he wrote is called Historical Jesus Mythical Christ. And in there he describes how, because he sees on the pyramid text the story of the virgin birth. In the pyramids, the myrrh, he sees this story written in stone way before this told over here in Europe about, and St. Nicholas did exist, and he was a saint. And we're going to talk about that too. But this is an African story that was adopted and co-opted by other people. When he wrote the book and he put it out there, and he came back now a highly spiritual man, because he was clear that the origins of what we were given from Rome were adopted and co-opted by somebody else. And the real stories were set in stone, literally. So the Ark of the Covenant is not Jewish. It had nothing to do with the tablets that were dropped by Moses, because Moses, when he came down off the mount, he had 42 admonitions of Ma'at. He had 42 different laws, and he tripped over a stone, according to the story, broke 32 of them, and he was told he couldn't go see the promised land. So what they did was they take those tablets that were broken and they put them in the Ark of the Covenant, according to the story. But where are those stones at? Because if it was written in stone, they still be around.
Well, who telling the story? That's the problem.
Oh, well, see, now we're getting ready to get there in a minute. So now, what he saw was on the pyramid text that during the winter solstice is always going to be the same. But the crucifixion that takes place when the rising of the Christ changes, because other groups decided that they were going to use the moon, right? Because this year Ramadan comes in February. Last year it was April. Yeah, February to March this year, because it goes by a lunar calendar, which is 28 days, which is the same time that women's cycle is attached to. Because that's the power of the moon. The moon is also attached to the tides, how the tides come in and out. So understand, this is high spiritual science. This is not just some stuff that's made up. The flooding of the Nile is also based upon the lunar calendar. So what people did in their genius was, we can't continue to sit up here and watch these constellations. They were intelligent enough to say, well, you know what else is important? The sun is important. But they had to correlate the solar calendar with the stellar calendar. This is where you get 360 days from. They still had to do the 12 months. But 12 times 30 is only 360. So somewhere in there, the correlation between the stellar calendar and the solar calendar was off. And because of that, you get these 5 days that they add, and sometimes 6 days that they add, that we added as ancient African people, ancient Al-Kibalanian people. We added these 5 days, which were called the 5 epigomenal days, or the 5 holy days. So now the calendar is closer to the stellar calendar. Solar calendar is closer to the stellar calendar because, of course, as you learn more, you advance. And as you advance, then what you do is, we can't sit around here and watch constellations for 2,155 years. Now we got 360 days. And if we add 5 more, now the calendar is closer, but it was still off. So what did the ancients do? They added what we call a leap year. They added an extra day every 4 years. This is not a European phenomenon. This is an adopted idea, a co-opted idea. This is an ancient Al-Kibalanian, an ancient African idea. And then, of course, with later on, so now you have these, okay, now we closer, right? But this is still over periods of time. When people try and talk about how in the hell can you calculate something 25,860 years without being able to, that's a long ass time. So how in the hell are you gonna say that the ancient Kemetic civilization was only 6,000 years old? You can't even say, even biblically, if we follow that idea, that this is only 6,000 years old or 2,000 years old. That doesn't make sense. So we're just walking around here believing a bunch of shit without even having anything to go behind it to say that we can substantiate it. This is substantiated evidence. This is physical evidence. This has got nothing to do with somebody's belief. All I know is between now, today, and whatever, store's going to have a bunch of sales. People are going to go out and spend billions of dollars buying gifts for people that they may deserve it, but what idea are you giving the gifts? Are you giving the gifts because the person that you're giving the gift to is someone special, or the person that you're what the hell you buying your kid a PlayStation? Buy him some because you're not even understanding the specialness of the child. And this is my speculation, right? Okay. Now, but we're putting in the economy billions of dollars on this ideology that's not even ours because it's been commercialized. Thank you very much, H-Spag. We appreciate it. Okay. Now, this is back to consumerism, right? It has absolutely nothing to do with any religious or spiritual ideology. But yet, when the ancient chemists made this idea, you can't tell me if you got a 25,860-year calendar, which is the same speed that the Earth moves in space. You can't tell me. This is science that we have within us. Understand that if you go to church, that what you're going to do on the 25th is you're worshiping the birth of the Son, the new Son, S-U-N, not S-O-N. That's a story that they co-opted because they had to co-opt it in order to give people an idea. You don't have to be pagan. This is a pagan rite, right? But pagan means original, just like they were the primitive people. We're not primitive. Primitive means original. And at first, until I found a definition of what really dug deep about the definition of primitive, I was like, man, you trying to make us sound like we ain't nothing. No, the ancient primitive people. The Twa, which the Europeans call the pygmy, which is a disrespectful.
Twa wouldn't be TWA?
Yes.
Okay.
The Twa people, they have their God that they follow. His name's Ptah, P-T-A-H. According to ancient Kemetic ideology, Ptah is the one who gave birth to the world. It's before Asur, which the Greeks call Osiris. He's the ancient father of
Ptah.
Ptah,
Gotcha.
P-T-A-H. He's an ancient father of the ancient Kemetic people. He was born up the Nile, because the Nile flows down from the mountains into the delta. He was born of the ancient Hapi River and came down through every culture, that Kush, Punt, Nubia, and Kemet. So if you do any math, if we multiply the 25,860, now remember I just said that's the same speed as the Earth travels in the solar system. How in the hell do you calculate that? Oh, I'm sorry. We did that. It's in our DNA. You just been told it's not, because everybody else claimed your culture but you. Because hey man, if you want to go and do the celebration of the thing, no problem, but understand what it is. And also understand, if you're giving gifts, in what cultural context are you giving gifts to anybody for? It's just something for you because you're just hanging around. Hell, where's the cultural context at? See, that's been lost. That's lost in Christianity. Because you're talking about the birth of the new son. No, you're talking about the birth of the sun, right? In the constellation Virgo. That's what we're talking about. So tomorrow's the 21st, right? That is the winter solstice. That's when winter starts.
And that's when the sun is kind of further away from us.
We are further away from the sun. And for the 22nd, 23rd, 24th, the sun is going to rise in the same spot. And on the 25th, the sun is going to move 3 degrees over. those 3 days.
Mhm.
Now, typically, what we have is the 26th, 27th, 28th, 29th, and the 30th. Those are the days that the new gods were born because they had to catch the calendar up. So now, then on the 31st and 1st, now we have a new year. Why? Because you had a new birth of the gods.
With that, I get what you're saying, but I got you because as you saying, you going through the because we're going through the winter solstice, right?
Yep.
We going to the winter solstice,
Right?
And then when we get to the spring solstice, that's basically like Easter, right?
That's when Easter is
And that's
supposed
when
to take place.
When you seeing life where they say Jesus came back.
Yeah,
But what
yes.
it is, you seeing because you seeing the new fires. Like as winter come, the leaves fall off the trees.
Yes.
Everything is basically
dormant.
dormant,
right?
Dormant.
Yeah.
So as the spring goes, as the sun coming back out, you seeing the birds, grass grow, the leaves grow back on the trees, and that's coming back. Okay.
And that's where you have the what? Resurrection.
Right.
Now, the crucifixion, y'all got to follow me now. Come on. I keep telling y'all got to come and get your notepads out. The crucifixion is where on the 28th, 30, what day? The 21st of March, the sun crosses the horizon of the equator and makes a T, which is where they get the idea from the crucifixion from. It is not from the Ankh.
Got you.
But if you're in your correct orientation, in the southern orientation coming from up the Hopi River, there you get perfect day and night, right? Because you're right along the equator. Here, because we're in the north, you get a different orientation. We don't get our perfect day and night until June 21st, which is 3 months later. So what people have done in their intelligence that they've grown is they've taken these ideas and turned them into stories.
Well, could that come from when they did the Council of Nicaea?
Oh, well, no. So now we're moving up several 100,000 years. Because even if we look at 5 different
we go back
eras, we go we going. Let me see. We look at 5 different eras, 9, 10. We're talking minimally. If we look at 5 different eras in developing this calendar, the stellar calendar, we're looking at 109,300 years of human development. Now, remember a long time ago, we said that the first woman, which we call Dignesh, or the Ethiopians called it, the Kenyans called Dignesh, who was found in the Old Dubai Gorge in 1968 by Leakey, but he didn't find her. There was a man, there's a brother who's the curator of the Natural Museum in Cleveland, who still has her actual remains. 3.8 million years old. So all the African women, all women, but definitely African women, have her DNA, her mitochondrial DNA. She's called the mitochondrial Eve. And if you watch the movie Lucy, they show her. But they make her look a little ape-like, but she wasn't ape-looking, even though we're closely related. Genetically, 92% of their DNA and ours is exactly the same. 52% of the DNA of a blade of grass in ours is exactly the same. If you go get a head of lettuce, you and the lettuce are related by 52% of your DNA. Even though scientists have been genetically modifying them, because the DNA is a little simpler to modify. Go ahead.
No, I was with you when you said fires. You said we got some of the. I don't think. Cause I'm just gonna be. I don't want to tick nobody off, but I'm pretty willing to sure that when because I be watching some of the brothers from New York when they was trying to say,
I
nah,
get
I
that.
don't
I
think we
get
the
that.
ones connected to the
No.
because I get when they talk about the Neanderthal, right?
Right.
Because that's what they try to come with the sapien, Homo sapien.
Homo sapiens sapien, it means upright man.
Right. When they try to saying upright, I don't think them was us because if we go back, remember I was talking about
Neanderthal? No, they're not us. That's a whole different
facts.
group.
Yeah.
Okay, no, the Cro-Magnon and the Neanderthal are not. See, this is where we have to go study, and we're going to when we start our book club. We're going to study Dr. Shinketu Job's book, Civilization or Barbarism, because he talks about a two cradle theory, and actually it's three. Because you have the ancient Kemites or ancient African people, Al-Kebalanian people, who are the oldest people on the planet. I don't care what nobody says. The evidence, we just talked about Dignesh being 3.8 million years old. Okay. And there's another one older than her, considered to be her grandfather. His name, they call him Salam because they did. You're right, because you got the Muslim,
beautiful,
right,
Salam.
right, because he had the Muslim influence a lot on the continent now, right? So that would be her great. He's 400,000 years older than her.
But where did we get this that the world was only 6,000 years?
Because you have to be able to incorporate this Christ idea in there. But if you don't even understand what that means, okay, it was he Yeshua the Christ. KRST, which means the perfect black one. But you can't give people that. You definitely can't give black people that. Right? You can't give African people that. You can't give Al-Kebalanian people that the God that you worship is black. But everybody knows that if you go to St. Peter's Basilica, if you go to the Vatican, if you go to all these other places where they got these statues, and there's a book that the author got killed. He got killed when he wrote this book back in the 50s. Called name of this book is when God was a woman. So they had to change the idea, especially the European. They had to change the idea and had to make Eve the fallen one because you couldn't give Adam that because Adam wasn't dumb enough, was too damn dumb to go talk to God and say, if this story is true, she made a mistake. But the reason why they took the book of Enoch out is because Enoch goes back in his dreams and he confronts Adam and makes him make a correction. So they had to remove the book of Enoch. And this is in the Council of Nicaea in 325 AD. Go get the book. It's a little orange and black book.
So there.
Okay. And it gets less than 200 pages.
Facts.
It may be 150.
I used to have it back in the day, but I need to get back on my book study.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We gonna get him there, family. He already there. We got to rebuild his library. He doing video stuff right now. All right. So now what we're talking about is this group of people who had a council of all of the bishops, what we call bishops or whatever, high priests and high whatever groups of people in I'm trying to remember exactly where it was. It was in Africa though, and that's the thing. It wasn't in Rome. It was in Constantine. Yeah. But I'm trying to remember where that was, and the meeting took place in Africa.
Yeah, I'm trying to think.
Yeah, we'll find. We'll forget. We'll get the exact.
If anybody in the chat help us.
Yeah. You can do some real quick research and find out where the Council of Nicaea took place. But we got to remember that story is co-opted as well.
Yeah, because I agree with you.
Yeah, so that story is co-opted. You got to change the narrative of that story. So there were 2,500 different persons of highly religious or highly moral ideology, whatever. Let's say it that way.
Right.
Because they weren't called. Yeah, they were priests.
No, if you go by, if we just go by the 147 laws of Mayat, right?
The 42 laws of Mayat.
42 laws, my bad. 42 laws of Mayat, and then you look at, and then if we just go with the 10 Commandments.
Well, see, we did that before, so we're going to have to pull that back up the next time we hear so that y'all understand how those 10 Commandments came, right? So Moses dropped tablets. That's the story.
Right.
That's the Christian story in Genesis, I believe.
Yep, it's in Genesis.
Okay. He dropped tablets when he came down and saw his people who he had done all of this stuff for or whatever. But those 42, and he only had 10.
Mm-hmm.
How? Well, he dropped them. That's the excuse.
But what was it? But see, it was a difference in them though. When you go look at them,
No, there's no different in them.
No, it is.
No.
When one tell you, okay, well then
go ahead.
Now, how do they say it in the 42 laws of my
The 42 laws of my eye.
How do they start?
Okay, they start out with, I have always, or no, because it's called the 42 admonitions, right? And these are things that you can go when you die and you go to, you're going to the hall of Ani, right? And you have these confessions about things that you have not done in your life. I've not eaten more than I should. I've not taken from the temple. I've not.
Now you see what you just said. You said I have not, right?
Right.
In the 10 Commandments, I will not.
Right.
So you looking at you dealing with two different types of people.
I got where you're coming from.
See,
right.
I have not, and one saying
I will not. You're right.
And I will
right.
not.
But see, these are the things that you've done all your life because the culture said you're not going to do them. You're not going to desecrate. Concrete jungle. Nicaea, ancient Turkey. But ancient Turkey at one time before it became Turkey was occupied by who? The ancient Kemites. Same thing with Mesopotamia. Same thing with Assyria. Same thing with ancient China. So we occupy all of that land. We taught these people how to be people. But thank you, we appreciate that.
Yeah, no, shout out to Concrete Jungle.
Yeah, appreciate that, big bro.
Yeah, that's why I was saying when you're looking at the different set of people, we ain't done it. One, you got to teach this. That's why when Moses came back with the laws.
Yeah, but the laws he had was already laws written.
Yeah, but it was for people that didn't understand. He was bringing them up.
No, he wasn't bringing them up. They was already Kemetic. He couldn't.
No.
Moses was a priest in the temple of On, knowledgeable in all the wisdom of ancient Egypt.
Right.
That's in Genesis.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Okay. So he couldn't bring something different to somebody that he already had there.
Okay, point I'm making. But when he was talking to the children of Israel, what condition was they in?
Israel. That's a new name.
The people he was going to get.
Okay.
The people he was going to get.
Right. But those people were comfortable with going back to doing what they were doing.
No, but you saying they didn't know that what Moses knew. Remember, they was believing in Pharaoh God. Remember Moses?
That's right. So did Moses.
But that's the point I was telling you. I was like, he was bringing, when you see the rules the laws, the 10 Commandments, evidently they didn't have them laws for him to have to come get at to them.
They didn't have the laws. They were called the 42 admonitions of Ma'at.
I know if they did, why didn't they have to come back? Because we just going in the Bible.
You had to so you had to change the story.
Yeah,
but you change the story to fit the people that you're becoming. And I get where you're coming from. Because the 42 admonitions of Ma'at is a cultural ideology that says, in my life, I didn't do these. So when I go and get judged by Asur, and my heart is as light as an ostrich feather, I can pass on to a mentor, and then I can start my spiritual journey to the next level and get on a mentor, the solar boat.
So basically, what you saying? Because what we saying we saying two different stories. But what you basically saying, the story that the Bible, what Moses did, that's not the story that you're talking about. Because if you're talking about that story, we going by the Bible. They didn't know. They was going by the religion that Pharaoh had. That Moses had to tell him. Remember, when Pharaoh and Moses had who he believed in, I am, and Pharaoh had who he was believing in.
Okay, but in order to create the fracture, and you have to create the idea that Israel started in this, you have to break away from that. But you can't sit there and say that Moses and his brother was Ramesses II. You can't sit there and say that Moses was a priest of the temple of On, knowledgeable in all the wisdom of ancient Egypt, and then say he come down with these laws, break some, and only have these 10. That's right there is a oxymoron. He comes down from the Temple of the Mount, right? The Temple of the Mount is an ancient Kemet. He comes down from the temple, trips over a stone. So you have to tell a story about how you went from 42 to And then the broken tablets they put in the Ark of the Covenant.
Mm-hmm.
But where's the broken ones? Where's the ones that's still around, the 10? Because
they didn't give them to. They in the book.
they in the book.
Yeah.
But on the pyramid text, they're carved in stone. Where's those tablets at? The broken ones are supposed to be put in the Ark of the Covenant.
Mm-hmm.
If the broken ones were put in the Ark of the Covenant is in Ethiopia. It's in a temple, a mosque in Ethiopia, a temple in Ethiopia. Because I'm gonna pull in another story, right?
Mm-hmm.
But where's the 10 at? The 10 should still, the ones that are written in stone that he gave to his people should still exist because stone don't go nowhere.
And I think that's probably where probably a lot of the mix-up coming in now.
Because then there's two things. Once again, we talked about what Oscar Kwesi said. What did Oscar Kwesi say? Moses don't exist.
No, because some say he was Atmos the third.
Okay, then if that's the case, then he's ancient Kemet.
Yeah,
he's Kemetic.
Yeah,
so then, in order for the Jewish people, the so-called Jewish people, to create the idea of their existence and how they came to be, they have to steal a story, turn it into something else, like everything else. If we go and watch The Lion King, The Lion King is about Asur, Aset, and Heru, or Osiris, Isis, and Horus. Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs.
Break it down.
Okay. All of these stories are about our ancient African stories that they're taking and turning into Disney bullshit, and we sending our kids. But we got to get back to what we was talking about because we're going somewhere else now. Okay. That we're giving our children to believe these fairy tales. I'm talking about facts. We have a calendar that's 25,860 years old. We have at least 5 groups of people that were over 109,000 years of being able to study, which means from far up the Nile or the Hapi River, these people started to study the stars in order to create a 25,000 year calendar. If we talk about the Council of Nicaea, where we turned things, where things were stolen, this is how you set forth what the book that you have now that's in the Bible, that we call the Bible, that they call the Bible. They're stories, they're allegories. If Moses was a priest in the temple of knowledgeable in all the wisdom of ancient Egypt, and he was a priest in the temple of On, then what the hell he did, he was very clear. He was very clear that he was a brother of one, and if he was Amenhotep the third or whoever, he was a brother. His brother was the Pharaoh. So you had to find a way in order to be able to break the people apart from this story. So in the Council of Nicaea, you have 2,500 different priests there with all of their holy texts. They have absolutely nothing to do with the creation of Israel, because that doesn't come until 1947, 48. And this war that they still having over the land that they claim that they took from the Palestinians after David and Goliath or whatever their bullshit claim is. But you have these people here with their holy texts, and they have a meeting in Nicaea. And he doesn't ask them. He asked them the first time if he can collect all the holy, because his idea is, I'm going to concentrate all of the power, the religious power in Rome.
Because he couldn't rule by force no more, military. So Rome was losing their power.
Right, because Rome was dying.
Yeah, because remember, his name was Octavius before he changed it to Augustus.
Okay.
It was Octavian. He became that's when he was the first pope. He the one changed it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He changed it.
But how the Council of Nicaea goes is this. He sits down, convenes a meeting, the council, with these priests, 2,500. He has his soldiers there, though. They don't look like soldiers. They're not dressed as soldiers.
Mm.
When those religious leaders, many of them black,
Mm-hmm.
said, no, we're not going to just willingly give you these documents, he starts to kill them. They go like, oh, man, what the heck? Nope. And then, of course, in their conviction, they don't give it up, kill some more. They don't give it up, kill some more. The last 10 or 12 left after he done slaughtered all of these people. Either you give up the documents, your documents, because he's been collecting from the ones that he had killed already. Okay, as long as you spare our lives, we'll give you the last, we'll give it away because it's the whole idea was consolidate power. Anyway, instead of being able to consolidate power, like you said, militarily, because the Roman Empire was dying, what they ended up doing is they ended up taking power by killing all of these people. And then taking all of these books, going back to Rome and consolidating them into.
They changed the color of the book. I'm looking at it's kind of brownish now.
It's brown now, but it still got Constantine on the front.
Yeah,
it was orange and black.
It was unlocking Christianity.
Yeah.
Yeah, the truth of Christianity.
Right. Okay. So then he takes these books back. He sees all of this African stuff in there. Well, we had conquered Carthage. We done conquered now we call it Egypt. And we done conquered most of North African countries. And then we had these other collaborators, the Hyksos, that come in and help us out and break these down. So we can't put this stuff in the book. We can't put this. So what they've done over the course of the years is they can't keep the stellar story about the virgin birth, like they're coming through the constellation Virgo. They can't keep that.
No, I think like they say in due time. Well, you remember what they say, the truth was taken was in the ocean swimming.
Yeah.
Why the lie was running around the world.
Right.
And the truth just now coming. Because if you go look, when they, in my humble opinion, and this still going with that, like you saying, when they digging up, you're going to find more blacker.
The deeper you dig, the blacker it gets.
Yeah, because, they don't want to, you know what I'm saying? We can go with science. We can go with scientific. If we want to get off into the science of it. The deeper, even when you pull the stuff, they over in Rome, they got a black Madonna.
Man, listen. That's my point, right? Mm-hmm. So when the man wrote the book, when God was a black woman, that's the name of the book. When they talk about the Madonna and child, she is not white. Child is not white. This is statues that they have in Prague, Yugoslavia, St. Peter's Basilica, and the Vatican. The Russians just recently said and admitted, I think in 2023, that hey, look, this is who we worship.
Facts.
So for our women out there, you've been the most important thing on the planet since you began human life 3.8 million years ago.
Oh, we got a question for you, brother.
Go ahead.
It's from Shadi Shar. What's up, Shadi Shar? They said, what about the issue of eternity? Didn't Europeans change alternative about that too?
Yeah, you have to. Because let me explain to you how even that comes. Okay. Even to be born again, what happened was when the ancient Kemites were buried in the along the Nile, along the Nahapi River, when they would bury their loved ones, they would bury them in the same position that they were born in the fetal position on the side. So what does that look like? So when you pass away, the idea of being born again. So when they were uncovered by the sands, because when you bury something in the sand and it's hot and dry, it gets preserved. Almost like mummification. Mummification takes place though later on. So when you bury the dead, and of course as the sands move and the wind blows the sand and everything else, you uncover the remains of that person that died and you buried. and they were buried in a fetal position, right, looking like a baby. That's our idea of being born again. But the concept of eternity is because after a person passed away and they were able to get through the halls, the halls of Ani, and were able to weigh their heart, now you have another journey. And this is a spiritual journey for your spirit. And your spirit goes through these, that the reason why that people, oh, you can't take it with you, that's bullshit. You always give your person that you buried something to pay tithes with, as they, well, I don't want to say tithe, pay the ferryman with when they go from their death, when they've left here, and then they have another journey to go on. And this is ancient Kemetic. And a journey is they go to 12 levels. White folks call it, Europeans call it Dante's Inferno, but that's only 7. There's 12 different tests. And this is where they get the test from Hercules from. So that's the African story too. 12 different levels before you get to Amenta, the heavens, where you're now safe on your journey. So the more that you have to give the ferryman, the easier their journey would be. So when we have someone that passes away, they should be given money or drink or whatever. We turn this thing into something. You ain't supposed to do that. You ain't doing. No, you do. You give them something to be able to, their spirit to pay the ferryman to make their journey easy. So this whole notion that you can't take it with you, it's not about taking it with you. It's about the spiritual idea that your next level of your journey, where you're going, is you're trying to get to Amenta, the solar boat. And they did change, the Europeans did change that to what we have now, right? So you give them jewelry, you give them money. And before the funeral practices changed here, what people used to do is I put a bottle in the pot in the arm of the person when they passed away. The person was actually, the reason why houses have front rooms is when a person passed away, that's where they would be at for their last part of their going away, right? We call it home going now. That's where it comes from. So you give them money to be able to pay their way to Amenta. That's Kemetic. That's ancient Kemetic. And now we don't do that because motherfuckers will steal your shit just like they did when they raided the tombs.
That's what I was trying to bring up.
Because
get all of them.
Because when we raid the tombs, that's because now you no longer ancient Kemetic.
No, but just think about it. They don't respect it. How you going somebody burial chambers?
But that's when you have to change a culture from the Hyksos and old Islam that was destructive towards the ideology, as compared to the people who made sure that the pyramids and people were, shit.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with this though when we do, because I do, and like I say, when you do say, I think what Islam is today, far as the purest form of it to me, is the nation. Like, because when you see all these other ones, you go over to the Middle East, they not doing.
But those are the ones that invaded North Africa and forced people, just like we talk about Christianity. Yeah. You gotta talk about Islam too.
I mean,
they have missions and they've destroyed people and cultures there as well.
Yeah, but I think the people who might have hijacked it, who came in and hijacked it, because it was during the times of, because let's be honest, Christianity didn't come to after Jesus was gone. I mean, you can't show me in the book where Jesus said he was a Christian.
It was
you got everybody, and then even we going with the names, like you said.
How you gonna have John and Luke and you ain't have them fucking names over there? And then stop believing that dumb shit.
And if you really go by the name, it wasn't an English name.
No,
Yeshua.
Yeshua's name.
So first,
and it was Yeshua. Yeah. Hold on. Let me put these letters up here. For you. Okay, KRST. That's the name. I'm holding it up so y'all can see it.
Yeah, so and I do think.
Can y'all? It may be backwards.
Yeah, it's kind of a little backwards.
Okay. That's the name.
K-R-E-T.
K-R-S-T. Yep.
Yes, S. I was
Okay.
going to say,
Yep. So then what you do is you change it to this. It's a pencil, so you change it to that when you change the story.
Yeah.
So you're changing the story. So the virgin birth, of course, was what I said, comes through the constellation Virgo.
But who is you celebrating? That's what a lot of people don't understand.
Oh,
Who they
well,
celebrating on the 25th. But do y'all want to know?
You're celebrating this new sun.
No, you celebrating Nimrod.
No.
Oh,
no,
BS.
no,
you better
no,
go. But
no,
when you
no,
cut
no,
the tree down,
no,
okay.
No,
well,
no,
okay.
no,
Okay.
Okay, hold on.
I'll get it for you.
Okay.
I'll get it for you.
I'm not saying, but see, those are stories that come in later. I'm talking about the original story. But the original story is the constellation Virgo was in charge, right? In charge because constellation not there for 30 days. They're there for 2,155 days, 55 years, right? Mm-hmm. So when a new sun is born, and I'm not saying that other cultures don't add some things into it, because if we really look at, right, the Roman Saturnalia is a festival that they did in December. But that's Roman after you co-opted the ideas of this older ideology. Okay, because even in the Bible, the specific date is not given because they don't know it. But if you correlate what happens in nature,
just go by the weather.
Okay, if you go by what happens in nature. On December 25th, 21st, and June 21st, you have perfect day and night. 12 hours of daytime, 12 hours of nighttime. March and September, you have two different things going on. But in March, they use it as a resurrection. We just talked about that. How now the world is coming back to life again after being dormant. When your northern climate, you have a different idea than in your southern climate. If you're along the equator, you really can't tell the difference between daytime and nighttime. That's no different than when we go to certain parts of Alaska, they get 6 months day, 6 months night. Well, on the equator, it's always 24 hours. It's always 12 and 12. So when you have the idea of the crucifixion, quote unquote, you have it where when the sun crosses the horizon and it crosses the equator, the middle of the earth, then what you have is you have perfect day and night, because you're always going to have perfect day and night on the equator, right? But also we have to remember, as this idea has been co-opted and changed by other cultures, Saturnalia was the Roman festival in December. Now, if we go back to Yoruba, if we go back to Wolof, if we go to Bamana, if we go to Dogon, they have festivals in December too, harvest festivals, which is where Dr. Malana Karenga came up with this idea of Kwanzaa. Because during this time, but what he did was he moved it to be after Christmas, so it'd be less attached to this commercialism and more attached to cultural remembrances, which is where these festivals come from. Nimrod is part of the story.
No, yeah, for sure.
Okay. But before Nimrod comes as part of the story, you have these other ideas. And that's all I'm saying.
No, I get
I'm not saying Nimrod is false. It's part of the story. It's another story. Because even Nimrod is not as old as Saturnalia. And Saturnalia is where we get Saturday from. And that is a Roman idea, Roman term. And Saturn is the god of war. Because Roman people did what? They warred on everybody. And one of the reasons why that Rome died the way that they did is because all of the utensils that they was eating and drinking out of were made out of lead. Real crystal is glass and lead. So when you're drinking out of it, if you heat it up, you're poisoning yourself. So that's how they ended up, part of how they ended up dying. But of course, it was going to be their time anyway, because every civilization goes in a cycle.
Yeah, when you having they was having a lot of infighting, a lot of assassinations they was doing.
Yeah.
Just think about it. Then you can't, and you stretch the empire for they had conquered majority of the known world. And as you hear the key word, known to them.
Right. That's it.
Known world. You know what I'm saying?
And so therefore you have two other holidays, so or celebrations, one called Sol Invictus, which means sun, the unconquered sun, and the other one is the Yule, which is in Northern Europe. And in Northern Europe, where it's cold as hell all the time, that's where the tree comes in. Okay, that's right, Shotty. Right.
But it's in your book, tell you not to chop a tree down, bring it in your house and decorate it. And what do the people? That's even in the Bible. Tell you the pagan religion.
You're right. But again, when you have the Church of England, how do you get people to come into the church? You co-opt their ideas and bring them in. And we really don't understand is all of this so-called church doctrine is pagan ideology. I'm sorry, we're not going to say pagan. Yeah. It's primitive ideology, first ideology.
I think they didn't put a cut on it from how it originally was. Like, when
absolutely.
People get some dope, they put the cut on it. See,
can't say
no,
that.
I mean, I'm just saying, I'm using the street terminology. I'm saying they putting coat on it. It ain't pure no more.
Right.
Because if you read the Bible, it tell you it's coming from, it's just part of a mother book.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. So
the older book doesn't have all of this bullshit in it.
And don't nobody got it.
Why? Because they tore it apart.
Yeah.
And they wanted to make sure that they only gave people the information that they wanted them to have. And they never taught people how to read it on purpose.
I got something for you. Do you think they seen what's coming down the pipeline, so they buried the knowledge?
Yes, absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
People
just think
not
about
stupid.
it. I'm just saying, because we still trying to figure out. Well, I'm not trying to figure out. I'm not silly enough to believe that they had slaves build the pyramids. And
you couldn't.
So do you? Because even stuff they finding out about the pyramids now. Do you think the people back then had wisdom enough? I ain't saying all of them. Believe me, it's probably, as you read in your Bible, the 24 elders. You have the 12 major and the 12 minor. Do you think that they seen this coming down?
Yeah, well,
that let's hide the information, let's bury it.
Yeah, but see, you have to remember that when the Bible was first quote unquote printed, it was printed in cursive. And if you have an illiterate group of people, because you did, and you only have a few learned group of people, which is where you get the 12 elders from, or let's really want to go there. There's a book called The Protocols of the Elders of Zion. Y'all really want to dig, get that book. That they tell you that we have to control the information so we can control the people. So therefore, what do you have? Even when you had in early times here in this country, where people, I'm called by God, most people were illiterate. They didn't go study. They couldn't read.
I mean, but see, that's what the people telling us about them people's being illiterate. Just think about it, because when you're saying it was written in stone, if we created paper like science, math, literature, just to come in with the stone. So we saying they written in stone. I'm pretty sure, because we going with because you doing we on the comedic side of it right now. We just going with the comedic side. You mean to tell me the 42 laws
of
Ma'at, why they wasn't written on stone?
They are written in stone,
but they didn't use paper back then.
They use it as well, but they're written in stone too.
Because we hear about the great, like the Library of Alexander. But when you notice when they came in, that's why I go back to that movie, The Book of Eli. Like how you can see you can keep a people illiterate, if you take the stuff away,
Mhm,
like
mhm.
you take the knowledge away.
Right. So look at, okay, so now let's correlate that with what's happening with us,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
At one point in time, when we got off when we freed ourselves,
Mhm.
okay, the very first thing that we did, of the 16 million people here, 19 million people here at that time, 16 million people went to school.
Mhm.
Of that 16 million people, many built businesses.
Mhm.
We're very clear that of those that built businesses, 5,000 of them were lynched, and there's record of that.
Mhm.
But we still push forward.
Mhm.
We built universities, we Freedman School, we did all of this stuff to get educated. Wasn't no such thing as the type of sports and entertainment that we're in now.
Mhm. But you got to understand, even doing that, let's just say, so when did the first people come here? 1555.
The first people,
Slaves that were Africans they brought here. Was it 1555?
14 something by the French
14. Okay.
in Louisiana.
Okay, let's say 14. So you looking at, and when did they get, and when did they become, when did the blacks become free? When they was able to come off the plantation for a second?
For a second.
Yeah, when was that? Because remember, they went right back to the
Jim Crow
Jim Crow law. So when you looking at why they was able to do it, you got to understand the people that they brought over here, that they was probably what, maybe 100 years from, who was doing all the work. So when you did free them, they already knew how to build, because what was they already building?
They was already doing it, building.
See, they have us think the people that came over on the ships were illiterate people. They make you think that they wouldn't sign. Listen, they put this design together.
Right.
Why you think when they got off the plantation, they knew how to build a Black Wall Street,
right,
or a Rosewood?
Yeah.
The DNA are already in you, but when you take people from that, the farther you keep pushing away when you get to 2025.
Yeah, you make sure that people don't know.
Yeah.
And let me, B. Marie asked, how many libraries do we have here? We have 4. The main one is is the Gloria Coles Library, but we have 4 other ones.
But is them libraries dedicated to?
Hell no, because you can't be dedicated to. But listen, I have enough material in my own home that people would be there, and their children could come there and read, and then their children's children can come there and read, and their children's children can come there and read. And then, because what I'm doing right now is every room is going to have a bookshelf in it with books in it.
Mm-hmm.
So if somebody come over to visit, you got books in there. I ain't putting TVs in there.
Oh, smart.
You know, we got one television that we can watch, and that's in my office with more books.
No, that's what you're supposed to have.
But people, what they've done is they've used this and other devices, computers and everything else to get us distracted from studying. And that's parents' fault too.
But what do they call it? Programming.
It's right. It's programming and propaganda. And I promise by Tuesday, we're going to have our first issue of the propaganda out. I promise, because I'm free now for a little bit. So I can go ahead on and sit and write and get this done so we can have that out for y'all.
And we can put it definitely on the Facebook.
That's right. Definitely. It's gonna be a letter.
No,
yeah.
Because I've been watching The Godfather of Harlem, Bumpy Johnson with Forrest Whitaker playing in it. When you look what they wanted, they just wanted to have their own.
Right.
It seemed like blacks wanted to, like, we can have our own. They got us from not wanting our own to we want to be
like somebody else.
We want to be integrated.
Right. Well, you got to blame the only person that was talking about integration.
Yeah. I mean, but they didn't know. You know, because you got to remember how he was thinking when he came in. Because remember, they thought old boy was radical, the one that was there before King.
Oh, shoot.
Vernon
Johns, right.
They thought he was radical.
Right. But once again, people not being clear, he was chosen. He was chosen. They've been watching King since he was 15. They've been watching him since he was 15.
Most of them was picked to do certain things.
That's right. That's the key word right there.
Yeah, most
being picked.
Yeah, because they probably felt like he could be controlled. He wouldn't be as radical as Vernon.
They also knew that he was a womanizer, so they had that on.
Yeah. Thank you, because they already be knowing these people know your vices when they come get you. Why you think the
yeah.
leadership? Why
Right.
you be thinking you got leadership here? Well, we say I'll be hollering the boule. Because if you go study who the boule is, you will understand what they goal is. It's to keep this thing that they got running now. It's to keep the undesirables in check.
Yeah,
in the
that's
black
all.
community.
Right, because you don't want an uprising of anybody that could lead you to liberation. I'm seeing some other comments.
Yeah, I was
here.
looking what Mark Hudson saying. Are you saying that in the
But
city of 80K?
but there's no, I disagree with that, because there's one on Pasadena, and that's part of the system. It may be a different name, and then of course there's the one on Beecher. On Beecher, there's the Gloria Close. But the other part about that is, regardless of that, start your own library.
No,
I don't give a damn about good. Listen, I used to steal from the Flint Public Library. Well, when I saw people that they had books that they didn't check out for a long period of time, some of them books on my bookshelf. If I go over to the Mott Library, even though it's for Mott, if you go over there and you pay to take the books out, you can check books out. I don't work there anymore, but okay, see, there we go.
See, 19.
No, 19. There we go. Okay, appreciate it. Yeah, baby. I'm one of them. They used to have my face. Look, don't let this guy in. And I would go in and take stuff that I see that wasn't checked out, and then you're not getting it back. It wasn't checked out since 1979. Okay, well, you won't see it. Okay. I literally would come over and I've got a teacher's badge, and I come and there's certain books I pull off, just pull them out on the shelf a little bit as I look through the Black Life part that they had over there. And I don't want to see these stories. I'm not interested in. That's me. I'm a historian. So I pull off certain stuff and just pull it out just a little bit so that I can identify the next time I come in, slide them books in my book bag, check out a couple books, and they wouldn't see them either. Well, when the thing would go off, oh no, I got a book from over at Mott, and I pull that book out, right? And I'm telling on myself, and I ain't got no issue with that. I pull that book out from Mott, and I show my teacher's badge. They ain't gonna say shit. They ain't say shit. So you ain't had these books, and the only thing you're gonna do is put them in the library or throw them away.
That's what people do. But see, that's why they don't want no. Why you think it was against the law to let a black person be educated?
Because then I can't control you.
Yeah.
And right now, what it is we're not interested in reading anymore. They've only shown us to be interested in entertainment. We're not interested in sitting down with a book. We're not interested in sitting down, learning some different things, having discussions about different stuff. Because even most of us here, we'll go to YouTube to check shit out other than go to a book. Anything that I've talked about 4 different books today. Council of Nicaea. I've talked about Historical Jesus, Mythical Christ. I've talked about Book of Beginnings. I've talked about Natural Genesis. All by those 4 by Gerald Massey. 3 by Gerald Massey. People should have them on in their library.
No, I mean they should, because you know why them people wrote books? Because they went through it and seen what it was
and saw the truth.
That's why books are able to be getting wrote.
Right.
Well, you know, and then like, because I don't get into it. I like some of what the anti-Sheikh Diop wrote.
Right.
I like what some of John Henry Clark wrote. Right. You know what I'm saying?
And we should have those books on our library. So there's no way that we could sit around here and talk about, oh, they're telling us we can't teach. Fuck what they talking about. Now, if I'm around people, you're going to learn some history from me.
Facts, but you have to put yourself in them circles. But it's easy to put your circle in the, right. B. Marie said, but a library is more than just books.
But see what they've done with people over there, even at the library here, that they made these changes or whatever. They got study rooms, but typically what I see is people coming over there checking their face. And I'm not knocking that. But go over here and go get some books and study some books. Grab some books and study them.
I think what's lacking here, scholarship is really lacking here.
And
like
this is the issue.
Yeah, like if you really had people, real scholars come in here and wasn't playing games.
Oh, listen,
you
bro.
know what I'm saying?
I did a Kwanzaa presentation over there, and the sister that was in charge of the library at that time, she's no longer in charge of the library. And I had a brother over there that worked over there. He wanted me to come back, and he wrote a proposal. I wasn't asking for no pay. You know what she said? No. And then she went on somewhere else. She gone, and I'm not going to be having the opportunity to go over to the library and present any more. And it wasn't nearly as radical as this.
Right.
It was very nice, very sweet.
But you got to understand, it ain't like they've been trying to block this for no reason. You had, what was his name? J. Edgar Hoover said his fear was the blacks would be a black messiah, right?
Right, absolutely.
So why you think they want it? Why you think you indoctrinated into what they believe? Let's go with it before we close. You come up 75, coming back. What color is Jesus?
Man,
they say it's not an issue, but why would you paint him? Because you want something that look like you.
Well, hold on a second. Have you paid attention to how much darker he's gotten over the years?
They throw some more paint on it.
But wait.
That's because the paint wearing off. Let's be honest. That's because the paint then got a little,
okay.
Not the upkeep.
Right. But, so the hair is brown.
But it wasn't straight.
It wasn't like that at the first. No, it's still kind of wavy.
No, what I'm saying, if you go look, just go read in the book what the description is. How did it tell you his hair was?
Listen though. The issue is we're not trying to teach that anymore.
Right.
And that's part of the problem. I don't care if you go to church. I don't care what you do. I don't care if you go. Now, I don't care whether you understand and or listen to what I talked about today. I come from documentation. I'm not interested in something that I can't document. I don't even if I put some connections in my head from this to that to other, I want to know where the hell the connections come from. But it comes from study. I'm not saying that I'm not spiritually attuned to stuff. I am, definitely, and deeply. But I'm not talking about anything on here that cannot be cross-referenced. Go look that. I'm not talking about no YouTube shit either. Where I saw somebody on YouTube talk, my teachers are Dr. Ben, Dr. John Henry Clark. I didn't get a chance to meet Dr. Arthur Schomburg, and I'm definitely going to make a trip to New York to go to Schomburg Institute. Chancellor Williams, John Jackson, those are my teachers. Oscar Kwesi, Jacob Crothers, who started ASCAC, those are my teachers. ASCAC is the study of the Association for the Study of Classical African Civilizations. ASCAC. Those are my teachers. Those are people I sat in front of. I met Dr. John Henry Clark in his 80s when he was blind because he was suffering from diabetes. I met Dr. Ben in his 80s before he died. I have a copy of his book, The Black Man of the Nile, when it's the big one, not the little one. Now, when they didn't change some stuff, but the big one. I have an original copy of George G.M. James, who wrote in 1959, A Stolen Legacy, which is not like the yellow one with the touch face on it. Burial mask.
That one too.
Yeah, this was gray and big and typeset, different typeset that I received from his family because I used to talk to them. I have a copy of Neely Fuller's book before he passed at 95. This is past summer. Talking about how do we win this race. These are my teachers. Now, I'm spiritual as hell, even though it don't sound like it because I cuss, and that may have some people upset. But there's a difference between cussing and cursing. Go read about it. I don't care nothing about your feelings. Go study some facts.
No, I think if once you go to study about self, you're gonna run into spirituality.
You have to. That's what happened to Gerald Massey. Yeah, that's what happened to C.F. Bonet, who wrote a book called Ruins of Empires. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you good. But no, I'm just saying when when you trying to do knowledge of self, you're gonna run into spirituality. You're gonna run into the understanding of God.
And you understand the God in you. You have to
Mhm.
connect with. Ain't no, oh, I was out here doing drugs and I was in it, and then I fell down and I was on my lowest and I saw God. No, you saw God in you first.
Yeah.
And then from there, once you understand that God in you, you can recognize the God outside of you.
Yeah. And I think that's
And that's spirituality.
Yeah.
That's not religion. Fucking dogma don't fuck somebody's dogma and words. One summer, me and a couple of my boys tried to live by the 42 admonitions of my eye. We just happened to go to the African World Festival and it was hot. And it was on Hart Plaza. This was years ago. Right? And you're not supposed to look at nobody. You can't covet this. You can't, man, she fine.
Put you up under that pressure.
Man, we picked the wrong time to follow this shit.
Should did in the winter.
3 days. We should have did in winter when we went out. 3 days, bro. And then when we went to the festival, we looking up in the sky and we not trying to watch women and none of this other. Didn't work. I said, man, this is some bullshit. We can't do this. But we could have under the right cultural context. That was just a wrong time for us to go. And here's the other part about that. Mm-hmm. We don't live a culture. We live in a society.
Yeah, I mean, but look, but it's a reason we in the society. Yeah. Why you got to be like? Why you think we going to the institute? There's a reason you ain't got your own school here.
Right.
It's a reason that you going by because you gonna be conform. Listen, do we see what? Have you been paying attention? Hey. B. Marie. No, I remember when Tony Browder came.
Yeah, I got his book on the one on the Nile, and he signed it for me.
Yeah, nah. See, like a lot of these people, the brother talking about. I'm gonna be honest with y'all. The only ones I went to in person was the Nation of Islam fires going. They saved this day and different. Now all these other ones that the brother talking about, I have watched them just from they lectures that they put on YouTube now. And I remember watching them back in 2013. 2014. I'm not gonna lie, that's how I watched a lot. Even with Ashray Quasi, if I'm saying his name right. Yeah. A brother gave me his tape. That you know what I'm saying, who up under the comedic science. That's how I ran into start looking at Sinetta and the different ones, you know, but fires going to see. Now, like I say, only one I've actually been to, I've been to the Nation of Islam. Gambling fires. Now, everybody else I just watched, I have watched their documentaries. Yeah. That's how I got hit the long walk. Right. I didn't know. Oh my God, I didn't know which name was behind that.
Yeah,
Wesley Snipes.
That's the reason why they threw his ass in jail. Yeah. Because he produced that film on Dr. John Henry Clark called A Great and Lonely Walk.
Right.
And after that, and then he had his name. He had a production studio called Amin Ra. And because of where he was, man, you can't do Blade no more.
No, you can't be.
You can't do that no more. No, you can't. You got a conscious black vampire?
No,
hell no.
You can't be conscious. They don't want you conscious in the industry, let alone just think about it. Why you think you can see all our billionaires can get together? Did you think Magic Johnson can say, hey, listen, I got this money, when we go open up something? He from Michigan.
Yeah, but you know what? He did a whole lot of stuff that he put black people in charge of, though. A bunch of the Starbucks that he started up or whatever other stuff he did, and some of them theaters that he started, he put black people in charge. Now, he can't come out and say that he did that, but well, he did because he did it.
I got a better one, though. This is what I'm saying. Remember, didn't Ashley Capital just come up here and buy buildings?
That's what I'm saying.
Why, I'm just saying, it ain't just got to be Magic. It could be Oprah and them can get together. Oprah felt like it was a bigger thing to go help over and build a school over in Africa. You don't think I don't care if the babies in the shy wanted Jordans or not. When they don't know, you gonna judge people on what they don't know. What do you think about the slaves that were just coming off the plane? What did she say? Harriet Tubman. I could have freed more if they only kneho they were slaves. So when you got kids in a situation they don't know, so you just cut them off. You cut your own off.
Well, see, and that's the thing that there then is a lack of nation building and nationalism because she can't be. Why? Where you get your money from? What did Malcolm say? You put a microphone in front of people who you're paying, and so therefore you can control the narrative. That's the reason why Dave Chappelle did what he did. And they can call him say what he wants to, but he's now free. And because he's free,
Is he?
He can do. Well, yeah.
Have you seen who paying him? You see that deal he got when they still the same people. You see what crowd people coming to pay him. He ain't free. He's still in their system. He's still getting their money if they want to cut him off.
You're right. You're right.
He no different than now.
Right. But yeah, because he just sounded like he went from one person, one master to another master.
Yeah, that's all it is.
But the dopest documentary he did or show that he did was called 846 to me. He did it for 8 minutes and 46 seconds at his house.
I remember that.
That was it. After that, I was like, okay, you showed me something a little different.
You didn't see the new one, did you?
No, I just saw it, found out that's out. I gotta go check it out. I'm free, y'all. I'll get a chance to check it out.
He talking it.
Yeah.
He shooted at Bill Maher.
Yeah, I saw it. Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
I was watching it this morning.
Yeah. Yeah. But we have to study. We can't. I don't care nothing about them saying you can't do this in school. Find some time to do it outside of school.
Fine.
I promise you, in January we're gonna have a book club. I gotta find out what's gonna be the best day to do it, and I'll make class with some other book clubs that they have at the library. It may have to be a little bit after 12, but we're gonna make it happen because we got to get back to studying. Hell, I don't have an issue with doing it at my damn house. No, he didn't. And that was crazy because I saw Dr. Crowder when he first came here with Dr. Deloney. And that's the reason why when we talk about people taking over her work, you're not serious. You're not serious. Because even if you have me come and talk to people, I ain't heard nothing from nobody other than Brother Mick. I ain't nobody called and say, hey, man, why don't you come over and talk to our young people? No, because they don't want somebody to clash with their ideology. And it's about telling the truth. It's not about following your ideology. How you feel, how you think, how you believe, how you live your life is yours. I'm only going by fact. I can back up everything I said today.
I can prove it.
I can back up everything I said today by fact.
I feel you. I get what you're saying, but we have to be more true to what was really going on because some of these people, these self-proclaim and got put in themselves, they the new leaders and everything.
Hell no, you're not a leader because you're on your knees with somebody else.
Yeah, and we have to be honest with that. See, we only look at the ones that we see on council and say, "Oh, they bad." No.
You got a bunch of people around here claiming things that ain't.
Yeah, it's a bunch of bad actors until you can move them people out the way. But you know what the problem is? A lot of people cool with them,
and it's okay for them to be cool with them, but that don't mean that what they can say upsetting the apple cart.
Yeah.
So hey, here we go.
Facts in 2026. I say, we gonna be at the election spots
all over the place.
Yeah, sorry I couldn't make it to Mari them who all through a Christmas thing. I got tied up yesterday, family.
What happened?
Mari, Miss Flint, she did everybody was doing their Christmas thing. I was supposed to go cover Mari's, but I got tied up, man. I got some stuff I had to get together.
Okay.
Yeah, I had to do had some car trouble.
And we're gonna say this and then I'm gonna be done.
Facts.
If you're going to buy things for your people, whether they be your number one, understand that you're going to spend a whole bunch of money doing this bullshit. And you're going to make somebody else very rich. Meanwhile, you'll be very poor.
Facts.
If you do at least do something in the spirit of giving, in which the three black African magi gave to the so-called Christ child. If we understand the story. Once again, it's a story. No evidence about it happening.
The wise, man. The wise ones.
Yeah. But be wise about what it is that you do. If you're going to go out and do the Christmas thing, cool, do it. If you're going to do it. But also understand that what the ideas behind it is. And what's the real idea behind it. And if you decide to go broke,
donate to 810.
Right. Yeah, right. If you want to do it, gift us.
Yeah, fast.
Gift what the work that Brother Mickey and his family is doing here. For real.
And my family's 810, Brother Elliott, Sister Winters, everybody's part of 810, Trevor, Anna, Yogi,
Yeah.
And even Kyle.
Make that donation as well. If you want to Don't send over frankincense and myrrh. That's cool, and we can use it, but we also can use your donations. All right.
Thanks.
On that note, family, we love y'all. Hope y'all learned something today. Peace.
Peace.